Hey everyone, it's Courtney. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm here today to do my February reading wrap up. So I'm here, like I said, to do a wrap up of the books I read in February, and basically I have none of these in physical copy. Literally none. Wow. Go me. So there'll be a lot of photos popped up here on this side. So first off, I read Renegades, which, backing up just for a moment, I was trying to read like booktubers' favorite books for February because February is the month of love and all these booktubers love these books. It was supposed to be cute and kitschy, but it kind of failed. So for Bookables, that channel, she was talking about how she loves Supernova, which was the third book, but I hadn't read the first, so I read Renegades by Melissa Meyer, and I loved it. I listened to it from Libby, I believe. I can't remember, but I listened to it in like a day. I just could not stop listening to it. It was so good, and it's on my list to buy like a physical copy of the book because I feel like this is a book I want to like give to people. Like, read this please, because it was super, super good. And I gave it 5 stars, which, like, who am I? I never 5-star anything, but I 5-starred this, so love it. Marissa Myers and I have like this really deep connection because our last names are the same, and I basically just love her writing style. I know some people don't, but I love her. I can't help it. Moving on. The next book I read was The Elites by Kira Cass, and this book I love. I gave it 4 stars only because it was like, I don't know, I didn't love it as much as I didn't love it as much as I did the other books in the selection series, but I still loved it because I love this series and I love the characters, and America is my queen. That's all I have to say. So 4 stars. Next, I read a book that has been downloaded on my Kindle for a billion years. It's called The Dark Mafia Prince, and I gave this one 2 stars. I don't remember who it's by, but I'll put up the picture of the cover, and I gave it 2 stars because it's just kind of like, yeah. So just to wrap this up really quickly, because this is a story. This is the first book in I think it's a trilogy. I couldn't tell you. It's at least a duology, and it's this dude who is like the son of this mafia lord and this girl whose dad is also like a mafia lord. And when they were little, they grew up together. It was a whole thing, and like the boys' parents, they all lived in like one big compound, like they were in the same like mafia family. And then the girl's dad brutally murders the boys' parents in front of him, but he doesn't know he's there. And then the girl's dad tries to kill all 3 of the boys from that family that he killed the parents of. And so the whole book is like this one son, like the boy, the main character boy, trying to find his brother. So he finds one brother and they're like in this together, and then they're both trying to find their third brother who was a baby when they were split up, and it's very dramatic. So like the first chapter is like the boy kidnapping the girl, and then kidnapping the dad of the girl and like torturing him, trying to get information, and they're like using the girl as like a bargaining chip, but he like loves the girl. He's loved her his whole life, so it's very like conflict of interest, and she loves him too because they've always been friends, or they were friends, you know, their entire childhood. And so the whole thing is like them falling in love, but it's very like Stockholm syndrome-y, because because he's like using her to torture her dad. Like, he like gets her to like do all these sexual acts and things with him, and then films it and like sends it to her dad, and like he has a bad heart and she's very concerned that her dad's just gonna kill her and die because inappropriate content that came to him via phone. And it's just, it's a lot. And then they end up falling in love, and it's just, I don't know. I've been talking about this for 2 straight minutes. Like, it was a lot. And it was very like, okay. So 2 stars. Moving on. I finished The Wicked King by Holly Black. I gave this also 5 stars, and the notes I wrote down was, it killed me, I am deceased. So those are my feels. I love this series so much, and I have Queen of Nothing on my library app, like as an ebook that I'm gonna start reading ASAP, and I'm so excited for it. Hyped. I don't want to like spoil this if like you haven't read this series, because I feel like a lot of stuff that happens in this book, like to talk about it, like the plot points are very spoilery for like the first one and the second one, but it's just so good and I liked it and I read it so fast and would recommend reading it. Would recommend. Moving on. I read Circe Witch, or Circe, not sure, by Madeline Miller. I think it's Circe. And then this was about Circe. The technically I think she's not a demigod. She's whatever. It's all about like gods, and she is like sent away as like exiled as a witch, and it was just really, really good. It was Greek mythology. It was so good. And I listened to it on one of those apps, one of the library apps, Hoopla, Libby, Overdrive, whatever they are. And it was so good. I would definitely recommend listening, because I think if I was reading it, it would have been more confusing, like with everyone's names, because some of the names are really, really similar. I felt this way when I read Lord of the Rings for the first time. I got really confused because everyone's names is so close together that I was just like, excuse me. But I loved it. I 4-starred it. It was great. Would recommend. The next book I read was Avatar: The Search. And who is this by? I don't know. But it is a graphic novel, and I would definitely recommend reading this if you are a hardcore Avatar fan, which I am, because I love everything about the series. It's a great series. And this series specifically, this graphic novel series, is about Zuko finding his mom, who, like, if you watch the original series, she's just like never mentioned. Like, she's just gone. She's like missing in action. And so like the gang's back together, and it's a whole thing, and any storyline that focuses on Zuko is my shit, because he is my baby and I love him. He's my cinnamon roll prince. That's all I have to say. Moving on. I read / listened to Sparrow Hill Road, which is by Shauna McGuire. This is recommended by Julie from Pages and Pens, and I loved this so much. Not only because the Sparrow Hill Road, that is supposedly set in Michigan, and I'm from Michigan. I live in Michigan, and that just like gives me all the feels, because Michigan is never in books and things because it's the most boring state. Maybe besides like Ohio. Sorry, Ohio. But I loved it. It was all about this 16-year-old girl who is killed in a car accident, like on her way to prom, and then it's her ghost life is what you see like through the book. It's her as a ghost, like walking the roads, being a hitchhiker, and it is so good. Oh my god, I literally couldn't stop listening to it. I loved it. I got so into it, and it was like a little spooky, but it wasn't like spooky, you know, but it was just like very cool. And a lot of it was based on like different legends and stuff, which was really awesome. And it reminded me a lot of like some of the Supernatural stories, which obviously those are all like based on legends. Supernatural, the TV show. I liked it. Moving on. I don't know what I rated that one because I didn't write it down, but I guarantee it was a 4-star or a 5-star because I loved it. Moving on, I read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I thought I was going to hate this book. It's by Taylor Jenkins Reid. As people were describing it via the YouTubes, they were just like, oh, it's following this band and how they get famous and how they break up and da-da-da-da, and it's from so many points of view, and I was just like, ooh, I don't know, that sounds terrible. And then I started listening to it, and I literally, like, I loved it. I loved it so much. I listened to it, I think, in 2 days because it was when I had the stomach flu. Don't recommend the stomach flu. But I listened to it so fast, and I definitely had it on 1.5 speed also, so that if that tells you anything. But I loved it. It was super good. I would recommend it. I see what the hype is about. You've convinced me. The next book I read was called Awkward, and I can't remember who this is by, but I'm gonna put up the title. And this one I gave 5 stars because I'm wild this month. Everything was a 5-star. This book is the second book in the Ice Knight series. I didn't realize it was a second book, but it was one of those books. It's like a romance book, so it's written as if it could be a standalone. So if you didn't read the first one, you understand what's going on. The second one, and it focuses on this one character who's a hockey player who's super attractive. He's supposed to look like Thor, which, like, I'm cool with that. And then this girl, that's where the awkward comes from, because she is like very awkward, she's very weird, she's very like relatable for the normal person. And they end up having like a one-night stand and having a baby, being pregnant. They're pregnant, and then like they fall in love with each other. It's very like just, it was very great for February, very Valentine's-y, very like just got me in the feels, and I loved it so much, hence the 5 stars. And lastly for the month, wrapping this up, this was actually part of what I was trying to read, and Awkward was not. Neither was The Wicked King. Yes, it was. Neither was the Dark Mafia print or the Elites. Those 3 were not related. This one was the last one that was on the list that I was supposed to read, and it was 10 Blind Dates, which is by Ashley Elston. This was from Julia Pages and Pens also, and this book is about a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, I can't remember. She is a senior, and she has this boyfriend, and they break up. He's super, super mean, first of all. He says like she's no fun and blah, 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 and he wants to break up with her, and she overhears, so they break up because what the hell. And so then she goes to stay with her grandparents for like the entire Christmas break. And during the break, her family kind of gets together and they decide they're all going to set her up on a blind date. So there's 10 blind dates. And like through the blind date, she kind of like, she just learns more about herself, and she like ends up falling. And it's very like, it's just, I know it's technically a Christmas story, but it was good still for like January. Still good. Like, it was a Christmas story, but it was so great, like in February even, because it was just super cute, very like love centered, very like family centered, and it was just super, super cute, and it was so wholesome. Like, I would definitely recommend that to anybody. So cute. If you like romance, I honestly might get my mom to read it, because I think she would like it, because it's just like cutesy and easy to read. It was pretty short, and yeah, that's all. So all the books I didn't end up reading in my February wrap up, or in my readathon, like for my TBR, were, I didn't read 3, The Unhoneymooners, Red, White, and Royal Blue, and A Curse So Dark and Lonely. And I am trying to maybe read them in March, but March is also kind of crazy for me, so we're gonna just see what happens. If you already saw my TBR video, you already knew that information, and if this goes up first, my TBR will be in the next couple of days, so I guess it's spoilers either way. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to hang out with me anywhere else on the internet, it's all down below in the description box, and you can also subscribe to my channel while you're down there, and let me know what you're reading for March / what you read for February, because I'd love to know. If you did a wrap-up video, comment down below and I'll go check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.